Ripper, Call of Duty Ghosts. The Ripper from Call of Duty Ghosts is one of those guns that feels like it was designed in a brainstorming session gone wrong. Officially, it's a bullpup submachine gun, but the gimmick was that it could switch between SMG mode and assault rifle mode on the fly. You'd press a button and presto, your spray and pray SMG suddenly transformed into a slower, longer-range rifle. In theory, that sounds amazing. The ultimate jack of all trades. In practice, it was like trying to swap gears on a car while drag racing. By the time you'd flipped modes, you were already dead. On paper, the modes covered each other's weaknesses. The SMG setting had a blistering fire rate of almost 1,000 rounds per minute, and could absolutely shred at close range, but it dropped off hard after about 10 meters. AR mode slowed things down to 672 RPM, but extended the 3-shot kill range to around 24 meters, and gave you a little more staying power at mid-range. It was essentially two balancing acts taped together, quick but weak, or slower but stronger. The problem was that it never actually beat the specialists at their own game. Up close, the Vector and Bison still outclassed it. At range, the Remington R5 or AK-12 would delete you before you could even think about switching. What made it even weirder is that both modes shared the same quirks. The ADS time was slower than most other SMGs, sitting at 225 millibars in SMG mode and 300 millibars in AR mode, which meant you'd lose quick-draw duels that an actual SMG would normally win. The recoil was tame, especially in AR mode, but the gun just never felt as stable or snappy as you needed. It was like Ghosts wanted to give you versatility but made sure you paid for it at every turn. Attachments didn't exactly save it either. You couldn't equip optics because of its built-in hybrid sight, which already ate up screen space with big clunky borders. A suppressor tanked your range in AR mode, muzzle brake helped stretch the distance a little, and extended mags gave you 48 rounds instead of 32. But none of it fixed the fundamental issue. The Ripper was always a compromise. No matter how you built it, you were never going to win against a gun that actually specialized in what it did. And yet the Ripper is still one of the most memorable guns from Ghosts precisely because of that weirdness. It wasn't outright bad, but it constantly made you second-guess yourself. Do you stick to SMG mode and hope the fight stays close, or risk flipping to AR mode and pray you don't get rushed? A lot of players ended up dying mid-switch, which turned the gun's unique selling point into its biggest liability. On forums at the time, people summed it up perfectly. You were guaranteed to get killed at least once per match just because you were busy playing Toggle Simulator instead of shooting. The Ripper wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, it was just strange. It was Call of Duty experimenting with the idea of a hybrid weapon long before later games started throwing weird modular systems everywhere. For some players, it became a cult favorite, the perfect tool for chaotic maps where you never knew what fight was coming next. For everyone else, it was just proof that sometimes two guns in one is worse than just having one good gun. XMG, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. The XMGs are some of the strangest guns Call of Duty has ever cooked up. Dual-wielded heavy machine guns that could transform into a stationary turret at the push of a button. They were basically the fever dream of someone who thought, what if akimbo? But with LMGs. By default, you carried two of these behemoths and fired them from the hip, spraying a stream of bullets with all the precision of a garden hose. But the gimmick was lockdown mode. Flip it on, plant your feet, and suddenly both guns locked into position with boosted fire rate, laser beam accuracy, and zero recoil. You turned from a sprinting maniac into an actual turret. The catch was you couldn't move an inch. In a jetpack game like Advanced Warfare, where everyone was bouncing off walls and boosting around corners, rooting yourself to the floor was basically an invitation to get deleted. On paper, the XMGs were terrifying. Each gun had a 150-round mag to 300 rounds total, and in lockdown mode they could erase anything that wandered into your sightline. But that power came with brutal reloads that dragged on for 6 seconds. And outside of lockdown, the hip-fire spread was so wide you'd miss more than you hit unless you were practically hugging the enemy. They were a weapon of extremes, hilariously strong when you controlled the fight, hilariously bad when you didn't. And then there were the variants, each one twisting this already bizarre concept into new shapes. Meat and potatoes and bacon and eggs cranked up the damage, letting you secure kills and fewer bullets if you landed your shots. Though they also made the recoil nastier if you weren't in lockdown. Death and taxes sped up the fire rate and even gave you a built-in laser sight to tame the spread. But the trade-off was losing some range. Other versions like bread and butter or beer and pretzels tinkered with things like starting ammo, hip-fire control, or range values. The names were goofy, but each variant basically forced you to pick your poison. Did you want more raw output, more consistency at distance, or a little extra ammo at the cost of control? The XMGs were never meta, but they were unforgettable. They existed in this bizarre space where they were simultaneously one of the most overpowered and one of the most useless weapons depending entirely on how you used them. Sit yourself in lockdown on hardpoint or domination, and you could lock down an area like a one-man sentry gun. Try to run and gun with them like a normal weapon, and you'd just end up flailing around while someone with an ASM-1 laughed in your face. The variants only exaggerated that identity crisis, pushing the guns further into their extremes rather than fixing their flaws. That's why the XMGs are remembered as some of the weirdest weapons in Advanced Warfare. They weren't designed for balance, they were designed as an experiment. a set of akimbo LMGs with a built-in turret mode and a stack of ridiculous supply drop names. They weren't practical, but they were memorable, and in a game full of laser rifles and exo boost shenanigans, that's saying something. DIY-11 Renovator, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The DIY-11 Renovator is the nail gun that shows Treyarch once again wanted to see just how weird a gun could get before people complained. It's a submachine gun kind of, except it fires projectiles, nails instead of bullets. Instead of instant hit scan, you actually have to lead shots. Nails fly fairly fast, gravity doesn't mess with them, but moving targets will still wreck you if you just spam. Damage is solid, 35 per hit in multiplayer, and if you land a headshot, it's x 1.4. It always needs about 3 nail hits to kill, anywhere but hardcore where it punches extra hard. It's slow firing for an SMG, roughly 517 RPM, though you can bump that to roughly 550 RPM with rapid fire. Mag size is 25 nails, or 35 if you use extended mag. Total reserve is decent, 25 in the gun plus 200 extra. Reload is a mixed bag, about 2.1 seconds if you reload early, longer if you empty the mag, but there's a fast reload option 1.1 seconds that helps in clutch moments. Range is one of Renovator's surprisingly strong points for a gun that seems goofy. Its projectile nails fly without gravity drop, meaning they travel in straight lines, which means at mid-range you can still be accurate. Just don't expect any wall penetration or fancy tricks. Recoil is low. That helps when you're trying to line up that third nail to finish someone. What makes it weird is it's loud. Fires nails, doesn't show you on the minimap when you shoot, even though it sounds like a construction site. It deals consistent 3-shot kills, so it can be deadly if you aim well, but if you miss or shoot wildly, you'll wind up emptying a lot of nails and getting chewed up by faster, more forgiving SMGs. It came via a supply drop, so you couldn't just grind your way to it. Randomness played a part. For those who got it, using attachments like extended mag or rapid fire gave it a bit more punch or speed, but each came with trade-offs, heavier reload or slower handling. In the weird weapon category, the DIY-11 Renovator stands out because it blurs several lines. SMG category, projectile weapon, nail gun aesthetic, 3-shot kill consistency. It isn't perfect, but in the hands of someone who leads well, can predict movement, it's fun. It's less about spray and pray and more about precision and pacing. Miss that balance though, and you'll feel how cruel those nails can be when you're empty and exposed. D13 Sector, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The D13 Sector is one of those what the heck is this weapons that Treyarch dropped as a special weapon in Black Ops 3, and honestly, it's weird in a way that kind of works if you know what you're doing. It fires a single disc, just one per shot, no fast spray. But that disc isn't your normal thing. It ricochets off surfaces, travels for a little while, can kill multiple people if it bounces well. Damage is absurd, one-shot kill territory. In multiplayer, the disc does 2,000 damage on impact, which means if you hit someone directly, it's over. Mag size is tiny, 1 disc per reload, and you start with minimal reserve ammo 1+3 in MP, so you don't get many chances. Reload is fairly slow, about 2.5 seconds. Miss once, waste the shot, or bounce poorly. That misses cost you. What really makes the D13 Sector weird is its bounce behavior. The disc flies, ricochets off walls, ceilings, floors as long as it's alive, so you can sometimes hit people you can't see directly. Great for popping campers or peering into blind corners, but risky. It's travel time plus bounce, opportunity for the enemy to react. Also, no attachments, nothing. You can't improve its reload speed. Its magazine, nothing. It stands alone. Because of all that, the D13 Sector is super situational. It's not for run and gun. If you run into someone up close and miss your disc or bounce it wrong, you're dead. But in modes where people are holding angles, camping, stacking behind cover, in maps with corridors or confined spaces, it becomes hilarious. You can throw a disc to bounce inside a building, spin it around a hall, and net a kill without ever seeing your target directly. Players on forums talked about how in Nuketown, Breach, Hunted, or smaller enclosed maps, it's camp route out as they put it. The D13 Sector is unlocked via supply drops, which means you need luck or to grind while hoping the drop blesses you. It's one of those powerful if perfect, useless if clumsy weapons. Land the disc, get creative with ricochets, and you look like a mad genius. Waste shots, get predictable, and you look like someone who picked the weirdest option in custom class. Probably more fun than practical, but absolutely memorable. Venom X, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. The Venom X is one of those projectiles crazy launcher weapons that just can't help but be weird. It first showed up in Ghost's Extinction, but in Infinite Warfare it became a full secondary in multiplayer and a zombie's wonder weapon in The Beast from Beyond. It's a hybrid goo cannon, but in practice it's one of the strangest support tools Call of Duty has ever shoved into the sandbox. Mechanically, the Venom X runs on a dual mode system. One mode is long-range sticky projectiles that cling to surfaces before detonating in a corrosive blast. The other mode trades precision for volume, firing rapid blobs of slime at shorter range that deal less damage but can saturate an area. In multiplayer, you only get 10 rounds per mag, so every shot matters. Miss once and you're basically useless until you reload. Hit though, and you can deny an entire doorway or flush out anyone dumb enough to hide in cover. It's not really about dueling enemies, it's about shaping the fight before it happens. Zombies take it a step further. In The Beast from Beyond, you can snag the Venom X from the magic wheel or through the map's Easter egg path. Here it acts like a spiritual successor to Ghost's version, laying down acidic mist clouds that melt entire waves if you funnel them correctly. And just to make things weirder, it can be upgraded into the Venom Y or Venom Z. These variants crank up the poison effect, increase the spread, or just make the explosions more devastating. It's not quite a thunder gun or a ray gun, but it's definitely got that same save my ass panic button vibe when you're cornered. What makes the Venom X so weird is how situational it is. Unlike most launchers that are designed for raw destruction, the Venom X is about territory control. You don't whip it out mid-gunfight unless you're either incredibly confident or incredibly stupid. Instead, you place shots like landmines, predicting enemy movement and punishing them for daring to step into your space. It's equal parts psychological warfare and utility, which is not something you usually associate with Call of Duty's typically straightforward gunplay. Visually, it doubles down on that weirdness. Instead of the clean mechanical vibe of something like a Stinger or RPG, you're lobbing glowing slimy grenades that look like Nickelodeon went to war. It's messy, gross, and extremely satisfying when it works. There's something about seeing a green toxic cloud chewing through enemies that makes it feel more chaotic than calculated even if you lined it up perfectly. Compared to other oddball launchers and wonder weapons, the Venom X sits in a strange middle ground. It doesn't have the instant panic button strength of the Thunder Gun. It doesn't have the flashy sci-fi spectacle of something like the Scavenger or Wave Gun. And it definitely doesn't have the consistent reliability of a plain RPG. But that's kind of why it stands out. It's not designed to be universally good. It's designed to reward players who are willing to slow down, think about positioning, and weaponize the environment itself. In that sense, it's less COD launcher and more arena shooter trap weapon, something you'd expect in Quake or Unreal Tournament rather than a boots-on-the-ground shooter. At the end of the day, the Venom X is weird because it breaks the rhythm. It's a weapon that forces you to stop thinking like a run-and-gun player and start thinking like a mad scientist, laying goo bombs and grinning when enemies run headfirst into them. It's messy, it's gimmicky, and it's situational to the point of uselessness in the wrong hands. But when everything lines up, it can make you look like you're 5 steps ahead of the entire lobby. And that's why it earns its place among the weirdest guns in Call of Duty history. Blunderbuss. Call of Duty Tar. The Blunderbuss in Call of Duty Tar Wyo is a weapon that stands out not just for its design but for its gameplay impact. Introduced during the Attack of the Undead event, this single-shot shotgun brings a unique twist to the game, combining historical aesthetics with unconventional mechanics. In multiplayer, the Blunderbuss is a single-shot weapon with a magazine size of 1+9 rounds. Its damage is 50 per pellet and drops lower at longer distances. The weapon's range is notable, with a one-shot kill potential up to 7.5 meters and a two-shot kill range extending from 13 to 15 meters. However, its slow reload time of 2.5 to 3 seconds, which can be reduced to 2.22 seconds with the Hustle perk, requires players to be strategic in their engagements. Attachments available for the Blunderbuss include Quick Draw Grip, Stock, and Advanced Rifling. Quick Draw Grip helps in aiming down sights faster, Stock allows for movement while aiming, and Advanced Rifling increases the weapon's range, making it more effective at longer distances. In hardcore game modes, the Blunderbuss becomes even more formidable, as only one pellet needs to hit to secure a kill, making its widespread advantageous. In Zombies mode, the Blunderbuss can be found in various maps such as the Final Reich, Grusten House, the Darkest Shore, the Shadowed Throne, and the Tortured Path. It is available in the Mystery Box and the Shotgun Waffenbox. The weapon's high damage allows it to kill zombies in one shot up to the late 20s, even without upgrades. However, its lack of penetration power means it can only hit one zombie at a time, limiting its effectiveness in crowded situations. Upgrading the Blunderbuss through the Übersprengen or by using the Free Fire mod, Mech 2 transforms it into the Thunderbuss, which fires 3 iridescent projectiles that stick to zombies and explode after a short delay, adding a new layer of strategy to its use. Variants of the Blunderbuss offer different advantages. The Culverin variant adds 2 extra pellets per shot and tightens the hipfire spread by 10%, making it more lethal and accurate. The hand cannon variant reduces the hipfire spread by 20% but decreases the number of pellets to 16, focusing on precision. The Dragonfire and Royalty variants add 2 extra pellets per shot and increase movement speed by 2%, allowing for quicker mobility. Each variant caters to different playstyles, whether focusing on raw damage, accuracy, or mobility. The Blunderbuss's unique mechanics and historical design make it a memorable weapon in Call of Duty Seps UI. Its blend of old-world aesthetics with modern gameplay elements offers players a distinctive experience, whether they're clearing out zombies or engaging in multiplayer combat. Nail Gun. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. The nail gun in Black Ops Cold War is one of those weird, over-the-top close-quarters weapons that immediately makes you rethink how an SMG is supposed to work. It's fully automatic, fires sharp little nails instead of bullets, and has that satisfying metallic clack every time you shoot. It's not about precision at range. In fact, you'll struggle to hit anything past mid-range, but up close it can shred anyone in your path if you keep control. The weapon has a small magazine, only 20 rounds, but its high rate of fire and low recoil make it deceptively lethal if you're ready to line up your shots and manage your ammo. Miss too much and you'll run dry fast, leaving yourself exposed, but hit consistently and it can melt opponents before they even realize what's happening. In multiplayer, the nail gun rewards aggressive, calculated play. You're not spraying from across the map. It's for clearing rooms, pushing objectives, and punishing anyone who corners themselves. Each nail hits like a mini shotgun slug, requiring 3 or 4 to drop an enemy in standard modes. It's a weapon that punishes hesitation but rewards decisiveness. If you commit to your shots and control your recoil, it feels almost unfair in tight spaces. In zombies, it transforms into something even more ridiculous. Starting with solid damage and a manageable fire rate, it becomes a reliable crowd control tool, especially once you pack a punch it into the reticular. Suddenly, those tiny nails become a torrent of destruction capable of dropping higher round zombies quickly. Its low recoil and mobility mean you can dance around hordes, taking out targets while weaving through chaos. Unlike many wonder weapons, it's not about spectacle. It's about raw, messy effectiveness. What makes the nail gun weird isn't just the projectiles themselves, but the way it completely reshapes your approach to combat. You can't just sprint and shoot. You have to control your aim, track movement, and anticipate where enemies will be. It's part precision tool, part panic button, all chaos. The tiny magazine combined with the high rate of fire forces you to constantly think about reloads, creating this tension that few weapons in Cold War managed to achieve. Compared to other oddball weapons, the nail gun sits somewhere between the DIY-11 Renovator and the D13 sector. It's not a projectile that bounces unpredictably like the D13, nor is it a slow, precise single-shot weapon like the Renovator. It's fast, aggressive, and unforgiving, making it perfect for players who like taking risks and rewarding those who can keep cool under pressure. Miss your timing and you're dead. Land your shots and you feel like you've hacked the match. At the end of the day, the nail gun is weird, fun, and effective. It's a weapon that forces a different mindset, punishes the unprepared, and rewards the fearless. In close quarters maps or packed objective zones, it can dominate. Out in the open, it's not that great. But that's the charm. It's situational, chaotic, and memorable. The kind of weapon that players don't just use, they remember. EX-1, Call of Duty Vanguard. The EX-1 in Call of Duty Vanguard is a futuristic energy rifle that feels like it was plucked straight out of Advanced Warfare and dropped into Tel Aviv. Introduced in Season 5, it's a hybrid assault rifle that uses a rechargeable battery system instead of traditional ammo, making it a unique choice in Vanguard's arsenal. Unlockable at Tier 15 of the Season 5 Battle Pass, the EX-1 offers a fresh take on long-range combat with its laser-based projectiles. In terms of performance, the EX-1 delivers consistent damage over distance. Its shots are projectiles with travel time, requiring you to lead your shots against moving targets. This feature makes it highly effective at mid to long ranges where target leading is more manageable. However, the weapon's fire rate is relatively low, and its damage output can be less than that of traditional assault rifles, making it less effective in close quarters combat. The EX-1's battery system requires players to manage charge levels carefully. Once depleted, the weapon needs to cool down before it can fire again. This mechanic adds a layer of strategy, as players must balance aggressive firing with periods of recharge to maintain effectiveness. Additionally, the EX-1's recoil is minimal, allowing for precise shots, but its low magazine capacity can be a limiting factor in extended engagements. In Zombies mode, the EX-1 shines as a starting weapon. Its energy-based shots are effective against standard zombies and elite enemies alike. Upgrading the weapon via the Pack-a-Punch machine increases its damage output and magazine size, making it a formidable tool for surviving higher-round zombies. Its low recoil allows for pinpoint accuracy. Overall, the EX-1 in Call of Duty Vanguard offers a unique and strategic approach to combat. Its energy-based mechanics and minimal recoil make it a rewarding choice for players who enjoy precision and tactical gameplay. While it may not outclass traditional firearms in every scenario, its distinct features provide a fresh and engaging experience in both multiplayer and zombies modes. Ballistic Knife Call of Duty Various. The ballistic knife is one of those weapons that never should have worked, yet somehow became a staple of the stranger side of Call of Duty. It's a hybrid between a combat knife and a spring-loaded launcher, letting you either stab enemies the old-fashioned way or fire the blade like a silent but very risky projectile. It first appeared in Call of Duty Black Ops and proved so iconic that it kept coming back in Black Ops 2, Black Ops Declassified, Call of Duty Online, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, Black Ops Cold War, and even Call of Duty Mobile. On top of that, it shows up as part of multiple finishing moves in Modern Warfare 2019, cementing itself as one of the most enduring weird weapons in the franchise. Mechanically, the ballistic knife has always been a gamble. You've got one blade loaded and usually 3 in reserve in multiplayer, meaning you don't get to spam shots like you would with a crossbow or a sidearm. Fire it, and you better hit, because the projectile isn't hit scan. It travels through the air in a straight line, which means you need to lead your shots and anticipate enemy movement. Land it, and you'll get an instant kill that feels as stylish as it is satisfying. Miss it, and you're left reloading a glorified pocket knife while your opponent lights you up. The melee swings are faster than standard knife attacks in most games, so you at least have a fighting chance up close, but the entire weapon is about committing to risk and making it pay off. In Zombies, the ballistic knife gets even stranger. In Black Ops and Black Ops 2, it can be pulled from the mystery box, and in early rounds it works as a reliable one-hit melee. Later on, the damage drops off, but once you pack a punch it, the weapon transforms into the Kraus Refibrillator. Suddenly, you're not just stabbing zombies, you're reviving downed teammates by shooting them with the blade. That single gimmick elevated it from gimmicky melee toy to weird support tool. And while it never dominated the meta, it carved out its own niche as one of the most creative secondary weapons in the mode. Every time the ballistic knife has reappeared, it's kept that same DNA. Flashy, high-risk, high-reward gameplay that punishes wasted shots and rewards precision. In Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, it fit right in with Treyarch's lineup of bizarre arcadey weapons. In Cold War, it carried that legacy forward as a special secondary, giving players another excuse to style on opponents with trick shots. In mobile, it became one more way for players to humiliate each other with ridiculous precision kills. And in Modern Warfare 2019, its presence in finishing moves was a sly nod to just how iconic it had become. What makes the ballistic knife so weird isn't just the design, it's how it forces a completely different mindset from most other weapons. This isn't spray and pray. This isn't holding an angle. This is about timing, positioning, and confidence. Compared to other oddball weapons like the D13 sector or the nail gun, it's less chaotic but way more theatrical. If you hit, you look like a legend. If you miss, you look like a fool. And that's why the ballistic knife keeps coming back, because nothing else in Call of Duty captures that same balance of risk, style, and sheer absurdity.